Huh?
Are you far away or are you inside something? Is this a camera? Is everything a camera? Morty, the garage, Morty. Come to the garage. Morty. Rick? Where are you? On my workbench, Morty. Are you invisible and you're gonna like fart on me?
Dad?
Flip the pickle over. What? I'm gonna touch it and you're gonna tell me it's an alien dick or something. Come on, flip the pickle, Morty. You're not gonna regret it. Hey, huge. I turned myself into a pickle, Morty! Boom! Big reveal. I'm a pickle. What do you think about that? I turned myself into a pickle! What are you just staring at me for, bro? I turned myself into a pickle, Morty.
Fuck off.
What more do you want tacked onto this? I turned myself...
It's Halloween. I thought I'd celebrate with a video about the shit that scared me when I was a stupid little kid who was afraid of the dark. So let's start with the first film that is also my first memory of fear. Jurassic Park. Obviously not a horror, but when I was 4, big lizard-like creatures that hunt you down to tear you limb from limb was a bit scary to me. Or so you'd think. This film was actually the reason for spiking my interest in dinosaurs, and from then on I was a bit obsessed by these humongous creatures that have all died. I remember waiting for Antiques Roadshow to finish, then for Walking with Dinosaurs to start. I fucking loved them and still do, which is probably why crocodiles are one of my favourite animals since it's the last true dinosaur. So why is this film included in shit that scared me when I was a dumb kid? Well, knowing these creatures are extinct means that they can't get me in real life. However, they aren't extinct in my dreams. Like everyone else, I sometimes had nightmares, but this particular one that left an imprint on my mind wasn't to do with the terrifying velociraptors whose appearance was changed for the film since they are actually closely related to chickens, but instead it was the T-Rex in my wardrobe that frightened the life out of me. This is a fear that was easily fixed, as all I needed was my wardrobe opened by a braver member of family to show me that a 15-ton dinosaur wasn't in my room. This links to the second thing that scared the living shit out of me, because I need whatever scared me to be resolved. So when a certain TV program that is aimed for younger audiences and their parents then goes for a horror theme that they finish by implying the threat is still out there, it's fair to say I didn't get much sleep for the next few weeks. The TV show in question is the BBC show Doctor Who, and I'm sure many people of a similar age to me know exactly what episode I'm talking about. Blink. Or better known as the one with the fucking weeping angels. For those of you who don't know, Doctor Who is about a time traveller called the Doctor and his police phone box time machine. The Doctor goes all across the galaxy stopping aliens with his sidekick, but he mostly ends up in modern day London. It's a pretty family friendly show as it includes aliens like the adipose, the scribble creature and the sentient oil puddle. Now let's talk about the episode Blink. Holy shit, was that a nightmare inducing episode that, by the way, still holds up. I rewatched it and the horror elements are very clear, and I'm pretty sure this was the first time I'd come across jump scares on the telly. Not only were the jump scares terrifying, but they also made sense with the plot. The weeping angels are creatures that can only move when nobody is looking at them, leading to scenes like this. That is fucking horrifying and much scarier than the cliched shit of someone quickly and silently walks around a corner while a loud instrument plays. Logan! This power they have leads to some creepy moments, and with the inconspicuous design adds to a sense of realism, as shown by one of them in a graveyard and another with them perched on a roof. That is creepy as fuck, and my personal favourite scene is this little bit. Ugh, that is fucking nightmare fuel right there. See, this episode came out on the 9th of June 2007, meaning I was 8 years old. So learning that these creatures are hanging around in present day who send you back in time so they can feast on your potential time energy instead of killing you, which I know is weird but still scary as they attack you when your eyes are closed, makes it very hard to sleep since you need to close your eyes. Going back to how they ended by implying the threat was still out there only made matters worse, and I would have never thought multiple shots of statues could cause such intense diarrhea in my trousers. This brings us to scare number 3, because like the previous one, the threat is still out there after the first episode. And also like the previous one, it's Doctor Who related. The episode I'm talking about is Day of the Clown from Sarah Jane Adventures, which is a spin-off series of Doctor Who. It's it for kids, and it's fucking horrifying. Kids are going missing and there's a spooky clown wandering around, handing out red balloons, then disappearing when you turn around. Sounds pretty fucking familiar? Most of the first part is the clown fucking with people by just turning up in random places with jump scares. Who thought this would be appropriate for CBBC, which is a child's version of BBC? This is also a show that has a robotic dog called K9, so it's a bit of a departure from the light tone when you go from that to a child snatching kid-snatching clown with supernatural powers. I'm also pretty sure this is just an allegory for paedophilia, as there's a real sense of stranger danger. To put things into perspective, this episode came out on the 6th of October 2008, so I was at the ripe age of 9, which seems young enough for a clown to be interested. Also, since this is a 2-part episode, they didn't defeat the clown, meaning no closure for me. I have to wait an entire week to find out if Sarah J made it out of the clown museum while overcoming the shape-shifting, telekinetic, kid-snatching clown who also happens to be the Pied Piper. That was a tense week I had, because this was back when Netflix sucked and people watched the telly, so can't binge every episode in an afternoon. You're also shit out of luck if you managed to miss that one episode, as you'd have to figure out when the next showing of it would be. Thankfully I was there when the next episode was released, because I was in desperate need of getting my sleep back. Episode 2 is a bit more of the fuckery where the clown just turns up in places to give you a good old scaring. But we do learn a few things about him, like he's an alien that has come to Earth in a meteorite, he feeds off the fear of children, and the only way to defeat him is by not being scared. Hang on, I'm thinking about It now. All this clown nonsense is starting to cross over to other films. Wait, no, I was actually talking about the right one. Turns out they've stolen the plot from renowned horror writer Stephen King and used it for their after-school kids program. I wonder if people would be scared of clowns if films and TV didn't constantly tell us they're going to kill us and probably fuck our corpses. That last bit doesn't usually happen in the films, but I'm just reading between the lines. Just look at that face. If that doesn't look like someone who penetrates kids, then I don't know what does. Except for Kevin Spacey, of course. Anyway, the night terrors end when I see Sarah Jane cut off a piece of a rock with her sonic lipstick, then use that stone to suck up a clown. Scare number 4 comes in the form of Hot Fuzz, and I didn't see this film in the cinemas because I wasn't old enough, but I do remember seeing it on telly. I was about 10 at the time, and I remember my mum covering my eyes for this one scene. The blood and gore I didn't really have too much of a problem with, but the plot of the film in general scared the life out of me. Most of you will have seen this film, but for those who haven't, it's about a village that has a lot of violent accidents. Except they're not accidents, they're brutal murders committed by a secret council. I live in a village. Most horror films have scary looking villains like Freddy Krueger or Jason Voorhees, but instead the villains here are old people. That's the most common thing in a village. Both my neighbours are old. Obviously Hot Fuzz is meant to be more of a comedy, and now it's one of my favourite films, but the horror elements were not dulled down. We get lots of shots of these ominous figures dressed in all black lurking in the shadows, with almost superhuman abilities as they are never caught, though that's just because there's so many of them. They are a force to be reckoned with even before we talk about the reasons for the killings. The film makes you think there's this big conspiracy, however it turns out they're killing people for really annoying reasons. We got the news reporter for his constant spelling errors, this actress for her annoying laugh, this living statue for being a living statue, but that one I understand. This is very funny to me now, but when I was younger and truth be told a little bit of a shit, that is scary. But thankfully the film resolves the conflict and all the old people are taken out, with one of them being attacked by a swan, which is why the Queen loves them. Geese on the other hand can go fuck themselves, but that's a story for another day. Something you should know about me is that for years I could only sleep if my head was under the covers. When I say years, I really mean it because I stopped doing it about 2 years ago, and now I'm 21. For some reason, monsters that lurk in the dark aren't able to get through my blanket. Although I think my biggest fear was just seeing something in the dark room, then not being able to move because I don't want them to know I was there. The reason I'm telling this story is because of scare number 5, as it happened this year and caused me to go back to my childhood sleeping method. The Ring is what scared me. Now I don't find horrors too scary most of the time, and I didn't think this one was that scary either until I got halfway through the film, started falling asleep because it was getting late, and turned it off. That's when it got scary because, as I've shown, the threat needs to be resolved so I can be at peace. My mind starts racing thinking about all the creepy shit in the film, like the videotape, which by the way has some great visuals in it. From there my mind goes on a tangent, bringing in all the scariest shit I can think of. It's a similar thing with meditation, as you try your hardest to clear your mind, but that's exactly when the dumb thoughts jump in. I still haven't finished the film, but I don't get scared like I used to since I'm a lot older now. I don't need closure as much anymore, and it's a simple method I use to calm myself. Whenever I think of something scary like a ghost, I just talk to myself and say, "I will fuck that ghost up."